Hi friends, today we are going to solve largest rectangle problem from Stack and Queue's subsection of the interview preparation kit. So in the given problem statement, we have to find the largest area or rectangle that is be possible from a list of a building. So how to understand the problem? So let us look at this issue. Let's look at this code. Let's look at the variable of h. So when we took a building of size 1, we would be demolishing all the buildings which have a size greater than 1, which are in its vicinity. So which, for example, 1, 3, 4, 5, all are greater than this. So it'd be demolishing all the building. Let's take an example of something. This is not a good example, by the way. Let's take an example. Okay, as of now. Okay, let's take this example only, just for a reference of short. So when you take building number 1, its height is 1 and all the buildings to its vicinity now it has only buildings on the right hand side. So all these buildings are smaller than this. So we could easily assume that the width is going to be the length of all the buildings, which is going to be 5. So right now, and its height is 1. So 5 into 1 is the value. So the value is 5, which is the max value. So max equal to 5. Now if we look at the second building, then the building to the left side is smaller. If it was larger, then it could be also be demolished, but it is smaller, so no point of demolishing that. But all the buildings onto its right side are larger than it. So we could easily assume that its size is going to be 2 into 4, which is going to be 8. Thus the height of the building is going to be 8 because 8 is larger than 5. Similarly, when you take a building of size 3 and all the buildings to the right hand side are larger, but all the buildings to the left hand side are smaller, so no buildings to the left hand side will be demolished. All the buildings to the right hand side is going to be demolished. Just for example, so 3 into 3, there are 3 buildings, so value is 9. So the max is 9. Now look at the 4. So if you look at the 4, we could easily assume that all the buildings to the right hand side are larger. So 4 and 4 and 5 is larger than 4. So it is going to be demolished. But whereas on the left hand side, so 3 is not greater than 4. So all these buildings will be remain intact. So there are only 2 buildings. So 2 into 4 is 8, which is not larger. And similarly, so thus the max would remain the largest as of now. Similarly, for the number 5 one, if you look at its example, so there is only one building as it stands because there are no other buildings to the right hand side, and on the left hand side all the buildings are smaller. So the value is going to be 5 only. So 5 is not greater than 9, so it is remaining the same. Now let us look at as an peculiar example. Let's say the value is 4. So when the value is 4, all the buildings next to the 4 is 3 on the right hand side, which is smaller actually. So right now the height of the area that is going to be demolished max would become 1 into 4 or just 4. Similarly, for the second case, building to the right hand side are smaller. Sorry, are on the right hand side are larger than 3. So it will be counting those, as well as the buildings to the left hand side is also larger. So we could easily assume that there are 4 buildings that could be demolished along with it. So 4 into 3 is going to be 12, and the max value is going to be 12. On the third case, the building to the its left is smaller, so you cannot demolish it. But building to the on the right hand side is larger, so it would be 4 into 2, 8, and similarly 5 into 1. So this is the basic idea. So to do this, first let us initialize a variable called maxplot, which is keeping a count of it, and then we will write a for loop. So here the for loop work is to check whether the building, right now it is checking the buildings to its left, whether those are smaller or larger. No, so for my mistake. So here the for loop that we are going to do is basically looping through the height of this array that is going to given. So for k in range of 0 to length of n or length of h, my mistake. And now we'd be assigning few variables ii and jj, whose value is going to be k comma k, means the current value of k. Now we would be creating another loop. So basic idea of this loop is it is going on the left hand side to check whether the buildings to the left hand side, is there any buildings to the left hand side or the direct vicinity to it, which is going to be larger than the current building. So for I in range zero comma sorry k minus 1, because for example, if you look at if the current building number is 3, so it will be checking from the second building to the left. So k minus 1 to minus 1. So in Python, the last value is minus 1, so it will check till 0, the value till index 0, and the step count is going to be minus. So it is going to subtract, it is going backward. So if h of I, if the previous building is greater than equal to current building, then we could safely assume that ii value is going to be. The reason for doing it is that we are going to keep a track from which value of I and j we are going to demolish the building. So in which range we are going to demolish the building. And if there is any building which is larger than it, so we'll be just breaking the loop. So which means that it is not possible to demolish those buildings on the right hand side. Now let's create another loop which is going to check for the right hand side for I in range of k plus 1. Pretty simple, because we are going to check on the right hand side. So for example, if the current building is 3, we'll be checking from 4 to the length of all the buildings or length of all the heights given. So length of h, if h of j greater equal to h of k. So if the building to the right hand side is greater than the current building, then we would basically tell that the right hand building could be demolished. So j value is going to be equal to j. So in this way, we will be taking a range. So if you look at it, so range is from 3 to 5. So you would be subtracting 5 minus 3, which is 2, but it's a Python indexing, so we have to count for 0 also. So it would be 5 minus 3 plus 1. So there will be 3 buildings, which is the correct answer. And if it's not, then we'll be breaking the loop. So if you are able to find any building which is smaller than the current building, we'll be breaking that loop. So this is the basic idea. And now what we are going to do is that we are going to create a plot function where we'll be multiplying the current building height by total length of total length of buildings that is there. So it would be jj minus ii plus 1, as I told you. So if you look at this current range, 5 minus 3 plus 1, you'll be getting 3 buildings, and in reality there are 3 buildings. So this is the idea. And now we are going to do a check function. So if current plot is greater than max plot, then we could replace the max plot by the value of current plot. And when all the buildings have been looked through, we'll be returning the value of the max plot. So pretty simple problem, although it would take some time to understand the code. So let's submit it. There are 2 more test cases that are running. So the current complexity of this problem is around big O of n square, because there are 2 for loops. But if you can improve this problem with some more ideas, then you please feel free to comment or share those ideas in the comment section. That would be really, really helpful. And as always, thanks for watching the video and stay tuned.